Yo, welcome back to Mike's Night. It's your host, Mike with all the good stuff coming. Today is April 12th, 2025. It's a beautiful, nice, sunny day outside. It's not too warm, not too hot. When the sun's out, it feels amazing. Looks like it's gonna be a nice day or a nice week for beach weather. So if you're looking to go to the beach around this area, then hey, by all means, it's a great day, great week, and I really hope you enjoy it. Hey, we're all having a good time. It's a good time to be alive, despite everything that's going on. The fact that you're alive is truly meaningful. So don't take that for granted. Take every opportunity you can to find peace in some way. Find something new to do. Find something to read, or just find something that's out of the ordinary, that takes you out of your normal mundane routine. Speaking of routines I haven't done in a while, I'm going to start doing the word of the day again. And today's word of the day is Druthers. Druthers is a informal word that refers to the power or opportunity to choose. In other words, it's free choice. Free will, if you will. Ha ha ha. Anyways, so that word has a meaning with this episode today, which is funnily ironic. Because today's episode I'll get to in a second, but I do have another thing I want to do today, which is the song of the day, which is something I've never done before. So the song of the day I chose "Familiar" by I think Eminem. So it's Amin Eve like an asterisk on the top of it, not asterisk, but like a apostrophe. Eminem I've heard or I listened to for a while. I don't like listen consistently. I will say they're a musician I do enjoy quite a bit. I think the first song I've heard from them was called Caroline. Caroline, to me, is a funny song. It's the song itself is pretty good, but for me it's more of a funny song than an actual like song it's top tier for me. No, no. I just think the lyrics and the beat of the whole thing it's very I don't know how to say. It's catchy. Yeah, it's very catchy. And whenever you listen to it, it just sounds funny. The way that he draws out his words, the way that you can feel that he's swinging as he's like singing this song. There's a lot of movement in his words and his vocals and the lyrics of the song. But the song "Familiar" is more of like I would say it's closer to house. He is more of a hip hop artist. I don't know if I would classify him as a rapper. I don't know if he goes by rapper. I could probably look that up in a second. But no, but he's actually pretty cool. So "Familiar" is a new song that he came out with recently. It was that and "Arc de Triomphe." But I went with "Familiar" because I do find myself liking that one a bit better. Let me see. No. Actually, it was Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe is the one that I meant. Is the one I like better. Forget "Familiar." "Familiar" is a good song too, but I do like Arc de Triomphe a bit more. It's a short song, only like 2 minutes, borderline 3. But I highly recommend you listen to. We can listen to either one of them. Arc de Triomphe is the one I actually meant to say is the one I recommend. But yeah, go ahead and listen to both of them. I highly recommend. I highly recommend them. And as an artist, I do recommend them as well. He may not be to your taste, but it's someone I like. I like pretty well. Now, another thing, if you're a big fan of food, I found this artist on Instagram. It's a lady whose like aesthetic is like tavern cooking, and she makes meals that you would find in a tavern. So things like more like bakery goods, like a lot of things with a lot of bread, sweets like tarts and the things we like. Her name is I Really Like Broth. Altogether, let's see. Yeah, and the way that she makes food, it looks so appealing. It's very hearty. Something that you eat when it's like cold outside. It's like if you've ever seen a tavern is something that in of the aesthetic of itself is very like natural. It's like somewhere out in a small town. It's like a log cabin almost. In tavern food, it does have this like hearty like feeling towards it. Like when you eat it, it makes you feel full. It makes you feel warm. It's like comforting. It's a very like comfortable food. It's a familiar kind of like aesthetic, I would say. Not how do I say? It's not cottagecore. Cottagecore in itself is a very comfortable like aesthetic in of itself, but it's different. No, it's not medieval. It's not medieval either, but it definitely has something along those lines. Like almost like you would think the way that she describes some of the food, or the way that she cooks some of the food, the way that it appears, it has a very fantasy style appeal to it. So if you ever, for any of my anime heads out there, if you ever seen Delicious Dungeon or Dungeon Meshi, it's very along those lines. And if you think, oh yeah, that's if you really like anime like that, then the food that she makes is along those lines. And I think it looks so appealing. I would love to try some of that. Making it, I would need better kitchenware, and also a bigger kitchen at that. However, yeah, the food that she makes, oh my god, yeah, I would love to try some of that. Now, all the things of the day aside, I do want to go ahead and get into the topic of today's episode, which today's episode is about relationships. Yay! I know, right? Now, me personally, I have never been in a relationship. I've never even been on a date before. So, in terms of my own opinion, it may weigh a bit less heavily than some others, but I do have experience when it comes to dealing with my friends who have been in relationships. Now, I'm more of a person who I get called when I need an opinion, or they want to rant, vent, or talk about whatever they really want to talk about. And that is okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. Because everyone needs at least one of those people in their lives. And I do think, me being one of them, I'm highly grateful. And I do appreciate that they see me in that light, that they can talk to me about things that are bothering them, or even if it's like something that's not like super major, they'll still want to talk about that with me. And honestly, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you very much for trusting me enough to want to come to me with that information. And I do give them a truthful answer. I don't want to like beat around the bush. I don't want to sugarcoat exactly how I feel or exactly what I think is going on. If it's something that I don't think is right, then I'll say it. Or something that I don't really understand, I'll ask more questions, or I'll let them say what they need to say to get the full story. And maybe as they're saying it, they'll get their true feelings out of what they need to say. However, I won't say who, but I do have a friend. He's been having difficulties with they're not really a thing yet, but they've been having difficulties, and a lot of it is in communication. Now, from what I understand and the way I truly feel about how relationships should be, communication is literally the foundation of a relationship. If you cannot talk to the person that you're seeing in a civil manner, or if you have an issue and you just like, even if they don't agree, but if you can't have a civil conversation and just have a discussion about it, maybe you can come to a mutual understanding, or maybe even if you can't truly like understand them, you can come to accept that this is how they feel. And in this terms of this relationship, they were having major communication issues. There were things that were said that should have been brought up a bit earlier in the relationship, or they should have been that should have not been said. Or maybe there were things that they didn't take accountability for what their actions were. And then I have another friend who is going through something, I won't say similar, but there's something that they've been in a relationship for a couple of years, and then unfortunately things happened. I'm not going into any more details. This is personal information. But some things happen, and they eventually had to let each other go. And of course, both of these situations, the friends I was talking to, they were both hurt. They were immensely hurt, because it's something about relationships. When you find someone that you feel like you can trust, at least in the case of these two individuals, they opened themselves up. They trusted them. They let them into their circle. They let them into their heart. And when you let someone into your heart, you truly let your vulnerabilities go with them. Like they attach some of your vulnerabilities with them. And with some of the situations that's been going on, when they tear away from you, it hurts. Again, I don't have the experience with this, so I don't know how it truly feels. I've never experienced that kind of pain. However, from what I've seen, it messes them up. It's not something that you recover from very easily. Like, you need to take time. It's almost like grieving in a way. Like a part of your soul has been lost whenever someone like that you let into your like inner circle goes like that. When they rip and tear to get away from you. Now, there's, of course, all situations and relationships are completely different. For some people, it's very easy for them to cut someone off. It's very easy for them to move on or to change the way they think. It's very easy for some people. And in a way, there's like a defense mechanism as well, where you can cut someone off very easily. Like something happened to you in the past where you had to cut people off. You had to become accustomed to that. It's very comfortable for you, or it's very easy for you to do. It's not exactly something that comes unnaturally. And for some others, no, they take it hard. They will literally ruin themselves because they can't grasp the concept of letting something go, or they emotionally and physically just got so attached to the fact that they're gone. It breaks them. It never goes away. And I'm not like, I'm okay. I'm gonna talk like I'm an old man. I'm not super old. I'm only 23, but I do feel like I've seen both the progression and the decline of how we handle like relationships now. I've seen good relationships. I've seen terrible relationships. And in my personal opinion, the way that we go about dealing with like relationships and things of that sort, it's gone downhill. As I'm sure many of you are aware, that our generation has by far the highest divorce / breakup rates that we've ever had in almost all of human history. And it's almost become like an epidemic at this point. There's, of course, all the loneliness epidemics. There's just all like, again, there's the statistics, I say it. And then there's, of course, the depressed state that we are currently in. And a lot of that, of course, that's due to like the economy and the state of how our world is at the moment. But a lot of that is also due to the fact that we are just unbelievably nasty to each other. Now, keep in mind, all humans are different. Again, I've seen good people in good relationships. There are good people who are currently still in a relationship. They found their soulmate. They're happy with each other. They understand each other. They can communicate very well. They do things together. They are capable of having a healthy, just cordial, not even cordial, it's romantic, I don't know. But they're in a happy place at the moment. And a lot of that is due to communication. I have two friends who are very much in love with each other. One who has like dietary needs, they can't eat certain things like textures and stuff like that. And the other who would take time out of his day, knowing exactly the kind of food that she likes, he will find a recipe that maybe they have never tried before, using foods that he knows that she likes, and he'll make it for her. It's a very romantic thing to do, and they do it together. It's like a couple bonding kind of thing, and they both understand. They both understand, like, okay, this is something that I think about, and I want to talk to you about it. And whenever they talk to each other about it, they take time to listen to each other, and they voice their own opinions. And when they voice their own opinions, maybe they don't agree on certain things, but they have the capacity to accept, okay, this is what they think, and I can understand what they think, and that leads to a healthy relationship. I don't, like, in terms of their personal lives, I don't know what they do outside from when I see them, but having discussions and I will say even arguments, is natural for a relationship to occur, because again, you're two completely different people. You're going to have differences in opinion. You're going to have differences in taste. You're going to have things that you like to do and things that they absolutely hate to do. And it is good, it's healthy to have part of that relationship in order to like build upon that. And I was telling my friends, you're having a time where you're butting heads at the moment. You're having a time where you're disagreeing with each other. And I do think that's good. I do think it's good that in order for a relationship, for you to continue going on to the next steps, you need to see how they handle certain situations. And my father even told me that don't really get like super invested in a relationship until you see them angry. Which I do, which may sound like contradictory, but it's like I actually understand. I kind of agree with him. The way that you need that he was going about it. So of course you're gonna have good times, and then that's the honeymoon phase of the relationship. You know, you're gonna see the good times. It's like you're finding a beautiful lady, you find a beautiful or handsome guy. You're seeing them. You're having good time. You are going like to see going on dates. You're doing things together. You're enjoying each other. But the more you get to know someone, the more you realize like their flaws. Maybe their flaws are apparent from the very start. And for many people, they cut that off at the start. If their flaws are that apparent. But for some others, if they're truly like feeling the person they're with, maybe they turn a blind eye to it for a while. But you can't turn a blind eye forever. And eventually, you do see the ugly parts of some people. The contradictory natures of what they are, the way that they actually speak, the way they actually dress, the way they actually conduct themselves, their hygiene. And you'll eventually see that. And for some, it's immediate turnoff. And a bit, and again, that's kind of an issue. Is for a long time, people have been told, "Oh, they don't like something about someone, cut them off immediately." And no, that's the worst thing you should do, because when you're trying to develop yourself with someone else, when you're developing, you're going to hit roadblocks. And when you find a roadblock, there's only realistically 2, maybe 3 things you can do. A, you walk around the roadblock and you ignore it. B, you climb the roadblock and you get further up ahead. Or C, you turn away and you give up. And for a lot of people, they choose option C, where they just absolutely give up on that roadblock instead of trying to climb it and trying to get into a higher place, a better place, or even better yet, they try to build upon that roadblock. So when you're at the roadblock, you build upon it, give it a stronger foundation. And a lot of people have subscribed to option C, where he doesn't floss his teeth as much as I want to. He's disgusting, vile creature. I'm gonna start looking at other guys and blah blah blah. Or there are guys who do the same thing, or in a different aspect, they do something similar. And yeah, it's a constant thing that keeps happening. It's like they subscribe to the idea of who the person is, but once they start knowing the person, they start realizing who they are. The idea is dead. Effectively, the idea is dead, and they decide, no, you know what, I no longer want this, and they start moving on. And that often happens in relationships, which is why I think it's failing, because we stopped promoting the idea. It takes time for it to develop, and you need to slow down. You need to really understand the person. You need to see the person for what they are, which is why, going back to, you got to see them when they're angry is really important, because a person who's angry does things that they do not normally do. A person who's an aggressive person, who's okay, maybe they're nice at first, but once you see them when they're like angry, maybe they become someone who's a harasser, an abuser, and you would never know, because for many abusers, that especially famous abusers, they have their camera face and then they have their phone home face, the face that you would never see. And when they're out in the public, they're all nice. They're dressed nice. They talk politely. They approach people. They seem friendly. But when they're at home, and there's many cases like this, unfortunately, there's many cases like this where they actually abuse the person that they're with, or they're like hitting them, they're harassing them, they're assaulting them in some kind of fashion, or they're manipulating them. There's so many different things that could go with that. Which is why you need to take time. You cannot let yourself go all in on someone immediately. If you do that, then you're just making yourself vulnerable. And when you let yourself become vulnerable to a person that you're with, especially if they're like a manipulative, they use that immediately. They would not hesitate to use that against you. And that's where understanding, you need to set boundaries at first. You need to understand, okay, this is something that I like to do, but also I don't want to do this very often. Or this is something that I would not consider myself very prolific in, or something that I just don't enjoy doing. For instance, I hate the smell of weed. I refuse to smoke weed. And I would prefer that, if it's brought up, okay, do you understand that I'm not going to do it? It's not something that I want to do, and it's something I just outright will not do. I don't want to try it. It's something that I have pretty healthy lungs, and I'm going to keep it that way. And I would hope that the person I'm with would respect that decision for me. I just outright don't want to do it. And of course, there's the aspect of, well, if you know you don't want to do that, then why are you looking at someone who does that? And then keep in mind, again, people are completely different. There's things that they're going to do that you will never do, or things that you like to do, and they're not too fond of it. But maybe they would like indulge in it, just have something to talk about. But it's not something that they typically would like to do. There's always going to be people like that, and that's how humans are. They have completely different opinions, different things that they like to do, and part of it is, yes, you need to understand, okay, this is something they like to do. Maybe even if I don't want to indulge in it, maybe me personally, I wouldn't want to indulge in it, but I can like talk to them about it. And there's certain things, of course, you don't want to go like have extremes. You don't want someone who's an absolute crackhead who just does pot all day and then they can't function without it or something like that. Now that's something that's an extreme. That's just a huge red flag. But I do think and also there's things that maybe they smoke a lot and then you notice that they're having health issues. Of course, like if that's the case, then I would want to discuss that with them. I want to say, hey, maybe we can slow down on that. Because you don't want to say immediately say stop, because then they start getting defensive. Because if you tell them to stop, well, then you're controlling, blah blah blah. No, if I see that it's actually having a effect on your health, I will want you to slow down. At the very least, to slow down a little bit. You can indulge in every so often, but slow down. You're hurting yourself. You're clearly hurting yourself. I would be worried about them. I will want to try to help them. And then, but that's where the communication comes in line. That you need to be able and willing. If you really care about something, you need to be able and willing to communicate with them. Hey, I don't want to see you like this, and I think it's going to hurt you in the long run, and I don't want to see you hurting yourself. And I want to try to help you like work through it. Of course, there's also a certain point if they cannot let it go. There are some things that do need to be like you need to have a limit at some point. And I was talking to another friend of mine. It's that he asked me, like, what are my thoughts on or one of my, I guess, I forgot the term he said. It's more like along the lines of, do you have like a profession that you would like go for? So in terms of a profession, he means something like, if you were to date someone, would you date a dentist? Would you date a lawyer? Would you date like a ceramicist, an artist, or something along those lines? And honestly, I never thought about it. I never really crossed my mind of, if I were to choose someone I would want to date, what exactly would I really want to go for? Because I'm pretty moldable in terms of what I like to do, what I don't like to do. I love doing artsy stuff. I love doing outdoor stuff. I also love doing stuff that are indoors. Like, I love to cook. I love to read. I have tendencies. I really like to clean every so often. If I have something like a room that I'm cleaning, well, dang, I might as well do the whole house while I'm at it. But yeah, I like to do a lot of different things. I love playing games. I love watching movies. I love anime. I love I love doing art, ceramics, drawing. I do digital art. I am a graphic designer. There's so many things that I enjoy doing, and I love to learn. That's the main thing, which is why I have so much on my belt, because I just enjoy learning. I like doing different things. It's not exactly like I give up on what I'm doing. No, I'll go back to them eventually. But I also like doing something new. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I'm what's that, jack of all trades but master of none. I think that's the phrase you can use. But that's something that I really enjoy. And if I were to I don't really have I never really thought about what profession I would be against. Maybe like a lawyer. Like, I wouldn't want to date a lawyer. I mean, sure, they make money, but it's what if I said something, it's like, and then they bring in the book of law on me, like, no, please. But I don't know. I think I would want someone, if I were to have a choice, I would, or not even a choice, a preference, I would say. I would like someone who does, it probably is more of the nerdy type, like someone who does play games, someone who does watch anime and stuff like that. Someone I can like really talk to about stuff like, because I do think in terms of that, I'm more like in depth with that. I feel like I can understand that more. I'm not a musician. I love listening to music. I love breaking it down. I like listening to the instrumentation, the way that the beats flow, the way that you may read certain types of music, or just listening to it and understanding. Oh, this is the progression. This is the melody of the song. Like I'll break down a song I really enjoy, and I'll listen to it multiple times to really get the understanding and the meaning of the song. It's something I like to do. Now, would I want to date someone like that? Probably not. I do think in terms of that, I maybe someone who I would want someone who is clean, of course. I want someone who's not like super messy. And I'm not saying they can't like be a little messy. I'm not a clean freak, but I'm just saying I like someone who's a bit clean. They take care of themselves. I want someone who is healthy. I want to be with someone who is healthy. So I don't someone who can control how much to eat, that they're getting a lot of weight and they just refuse to take care of themselves. I've already said before, I don't want to take care of someone. And don't get it wrong. It's not like I don't want to be like the man. I want to be like I don't want to have like times where I can provide. I don't want to be like not be that. I'm talking about people who are so far gone in their ways that their body is literally shutting down on them. I don't want someone who's like that. I don't want to be with someone who's like that. Because at that point, I'm taking care of you. And I can't be taking care of you and myself. That's something that I will not tolerate. I need you to have some initiative. I want you to be able to take care of yourself. I want you, like, if I'm not around, say I'm sick for whatever reason, you're able to take care of yourself. You can clean yourself. You can cook for yourself. You can do anything that you need to do to make sure that you're okay. And of course, I'm gonna be the same way. But I also want to be with someone who's capable of having a conversation. Like, I don't want to have like a one-sided conversation where I'm simply sitting there just listening to you talk, because if I see my opinion, then automatically there's an issue with it. No, 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 no. I want to have a like, say there's something we're watching and like, and I don't understand it. I want to ask the question, and then maybe we can have like a talk about it, or something that you're into. Say like you're into salamanders or something. You say you're into salamanders, and like you want to have like a whole, like you're like a biology like professional, like you want to talk about salamanders, and it's like something that you're really into. Like, okay, then let's talk about it. Like I want to have that conversation. I want to understand what you really enjoy, and I would like that vice versa. I've hear all the time about guys who have a bad day, and like they say the issues that they have about their day, and then they get cut off or they get deny that that need that they have. Like they are human beings. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to have like time where it's like, hey, they have a bad day. Like I want to talk about it, or like I want to get this off my chest. I like this is something that I'm feeling right now, and it's something that I think is also in some ways has been more accepted, but also more pushed back against, where guys are becoming more becoming able to really say what they truly feel, not just expected to be drones, like stoic pieces of meat that are just there and accept everything that's thrown at them. No, and that's not who I am either. If I have something that I have in my mind, I'm going to say it. If it's something that I think I don't agree with that, or maybe this is something that, man, I don't understand why this is going on. So I want to like delve deeper into it. I want to take time out of my day to really go research it. I want to understand something. And that's also part of me, I'm a person who likes to learn. So if it's something I don't understand, well, I will take the time of my day to try to understand it. Even if I'm like really, if it's something that's really mundane or I think is kind of stupid, it's like, okay, why is this a thing? And most of the time, if it is stupid, the answer is obvious. So it's like, okay, if it's stupid, then it's clearly just stupid, and I'll just ignore it. But there's things like that. Is I would like to be around someone like that. where we like they want to do things like say I will like say they want to take a trip somewhere, like they're not just an indoor person, like just indoor head, they only stay at home all the time. I want to travel a bit. I want to go see things. I want to experience life. But at the same time, I am not opposed to being at home. Like there's things that I could find to do at home. Like I could find a new recipe to do. Okay, if I can do another art piece, I can listen to a song while like eating something really good. It's like there's things like that, and it's not. I want to be more in depth of it, but at the same time, I'm not like a super picky person. Like it's not really like a race that I'm like, oh, I have to be this, or oh, I absolutely cannot be this. No, this it's not gonna be. It's not exactly like that. It's not that. It's not that like precise or how do I say? It's more picky. No, 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 no. It's like again, I just want someone who's a bit more proactive. Want to be with someone who's a bit more proactive about just keeping this doing things. I don't want to have a life where I'm sitting around doing nothing the entire time. That's not something I want to do. And I would communicate with that. I would communicate that with them probably off the job. I will try to figure out things that they like to do. If there's something they like to do, then maybe I can make a plan around that. It's like, okay, they like roller skating. Even though I absolutely suck at roller skating, my balance is about as good as a toddler's when it comes to roller skating. I mean, if that's something they like to do, oh, we can make a plan around that. Or if they like to go outdoors and go fishing, oh, amen. I can go fishing all day. But yeah, I would want to communicate. I would try. I would take actual effort to figure that out, and I would want that vice versa. And going back to the friend I was talking about, in terms of relationship and starting out, yes, it was very much like that, where they both gave as much as they took in terms of providing for each other, providing like that sense of, okay, this is like how do I say, this is like the needs that they need. Like he will go to a city to go see her, and she will go to his city to go see him. They would have to spend time together. They would work out together. They would go eat together. They would talk to each other. It's things like that. They moved a little fast, in my opinion. They moved a little fast. However, is that kind of like talk and communication that needs to be happening. And the only thing that really is the bad spot at the moment with them is the fact that they did not communicate. Now, yes, they spent time together. They did like nice things with each other. They had they took trips and everything. They had the honeymoon phase, but they, for again what I said, they didn't see each other when they were at their worst. And again, I think I even skipped over that point. My bad. When you're at your worst, yes, you see the ugly parts of someone, and once you see the ugly parts, that's what really makes or breaks a relationship. It's the fact that you are able to see them for who they really are. When they're angry, are they aggressive? When they're angry, are they manipulative? When they're angry, are they able to realize, okay, maybe this is something that was my fault. I need to work on that. I would like to apologize. Are they able to do that? If they're not able to do that, there's something that if you feel like is something that's not so unbelievably out of the question, I feel like you are able to work on that. And yes, again, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes time to work on some things. Like you need to accept certain aspects of someone else in order for that to actually grow. I'm gonna say it as in, like I told him, it's an analogy of a tree. When you're planting a tree, when you're putting the sapling down, of course, you make sure you give it the soil, you give it the water, good soil at that, and that seed starts to grow. Of course, the seed is a sapling, is weak, is starting to grow, it sprouts up very quickly. But there's a certain point where that quick sprout up slows down, and when it slows down, if you're taking care of the tree, the tree is still healthy, it still grows, it starts going up slowly. But there's certain points where, like, say, there's been really bad weather lately, or the sun has been unbelievably hot, even if the tree's like planting in like a plot of land somewhere, and the tree starts to wilt a little bit. or it was to a point where it starts to drop really bad. It is at that point is where it's most important, when that wilting tree, that point where maybe you had an argument, maybe times are tough, maybe it's like we're not really talking to each other at the moment. Is that specific instance is where relationships really where your relationship is really tested. Is if that plot of land, if you take care of that plot of land and you take time to like go back and water it, replace the soil, make sure there's no like little pests poking at your plant, taking away anything else, and those pests can be like things like jealous friends. Those pests can be like people who are giving you terrible advice that clearly shouldn't be taken, but sometimes you take them because they are your friends, or anything along those lines. You're making sure that your foundation is strong. That foundation is the soil. The foundation are the tree's roots. You should make sure that foundation is strong, which is why, me personally, I would rather go slow. I am more of a casual person in terms of this. Not nonchalant, I'm casual. And the difference between that is nonchalant means I don't really care. I'm not taking effort, I'm not putting in any kind of effort to learn more about you. I'm not taking any effort to make sure that maybe I do something romantic every so often. Maybe I'm not taking the time to redevelop anything. And that is more nonchalant. I'm casual, where I will go out of my way to learn more about you. There's times where maybe I'm more distant, or there's times where I want to do something on my own, or where I don't really want to be bothered by anyone. I think everyone has that kind of like time, but I will still take the time. Like, hey, how's your day? How are you doing? Well, what are you doing? Like, what are you looking into? Like, what are you learning about? What are you working on at the moment? Are you doing this? Oh, there's this place down the street. I know you like so and so. So I went ahead and got you some. Or would you like to go like grab a bite to eat? I'm more of a casual. I'm not going to be like, I'm not like super romantic kind of guy. I'm not going to spend like thousands of dollars on like a one-time thing unless it's like a really special occasion. I'm not going to do that. It's more of a, like, you're literally my best friend. I want to have that kind of relationship where you are literally someone I can confide in, someone I can really trust, someone I can really do things with, and just enjoy life together. That's what I truly want. However, going back to what I was saying, if that foundation is good, and if you truly are building up that slow build up, then the tree eventually will start growing again. And and when it starts growing again, it gets stronger. Its foundation gets thicker. Its bark starts growing in. The tree becomes healthier. It gets bigger. It gets stronger, and eventually it starts bearing fruit. Of course, trees take years to grow, but realistically, that's how much time it should take for a relationship to really grow. It's not something that happens in a few months. No, you haven't experienced someone's full personality in a few months. Some of you psychopaths doing in a few weeks, I cannot stand any of you. But no, you haven't experienced someone's full personality in a few months. It takes years. Because think about it. In a span of a year, you have a lot of people have really good years. A lot of times you only see the good parts of them. And some people have really terrible years, and that's where you see the worst parts of them. And sometimes people have multiple good years in like a row, and some people will just have multiple bad years, and they're going through it. You need to have the time to really learn someone, and if you don't take the time to learn someone, you don't take the time to really like develop that foundation, then it will chop itself off. It will do it naturally. And that's what happens a lot of the time, especially with relationships nowadays. They don't take the time to build a foundation. They don't plant the seed. They barely plant the seed at that. They don't plant the seed. They don't take care of the soil. They don't water the plant. Whenever that plant starts wilting, they immediately give up on it. They burn the tree. They cut it up. They uproot it. They leave the tree to die. A lot of people now they will do absolutely that. In reality, when the tree starts to wilt, especially if you care about that tree, you will take the time to make sure it's groomed. Just make sure that tree has the best soil. Make sure the tree is watered properly. Whenever it needs water, not every day, because if you overwater a plant, it will drown. and the tree will die. If you have too much something in the soil, then too much will start growing around it. The more pests will start to come, the more weeds will start to come around it. You need to make sure that the soil is good and filled with nutrients, but you don't want to overdo it. And that's something that I've also seen where people are smothering someone. They want to know their location at every point of every single day. They want to be around them all the time. They want to shower them with gifts. They shower them with trinkets. They shower them with everything. And sometimes that becomes snuffling. That becomes overwhelming. People can drown. And that's when they start to push back. And that's what I said. You need to set boundaries as well, because there's things that I typically don't like. For one thing, I will accept a gift. I don't like being given a lot of gifts constantly, because I'm also a person who worries about your own finances. If you're giving me too much, I will tell you outright, please, I would rather you say that for yourself. I would rather you, if something happens, you don't have that kind of funds because you'll be giving all this, even if it's cheap. If it happens too often, I will start to get worried for you. It's like, please, I need you to slow down. I don't want you to give me all this, because what happens if something happens? I want you to be able to handle it, and I don't want you to be panicking because, I may be like a couple of bucks under because I spent all this money. No. I hate that. Like, if you give me a gift, I will accept it. And I will say thank you, of course. I'm not going to be unappreciative of the fact you gave it to me. But I also would rather you have your own finances, because I start worrying about, because I'm frugal. I will admit, I won't say cheap, but I am frugal, where I don't like to spend my own money, and I don't like to spend a lot of money. But I will do it on occasion, especially if I need to. But if there's times where, like, okay, I haven't done this in a while, or this person has been doing it in a really good mood, or they've been even if they're in a bad mood, I was like, okay, let me treat them to something nice. Most of the time is I typically go towards food, because I think I just really like food. But if like there's something that they really enjoy, say they're really into like collectibles, maybe I get them a collectible if it's not like going to bankrupt me, of course. But if they like collectibles, maybe I'll get something that's kind of nice for them. But essentially, is that the tree requires I won't say precision, but it requires like careful care. If you're going way too ham on it, and like you're putting too many things on it, the tree will die. The tree will not be healthy. The foundation will be weak. If at the slightest breeze, that tree could fall down. Even if it's a grown tree, a tree with a good foundation, a full-grown tree, can survive a hurricane. Of course, the hurricane's hitting it. I mean, it's a hurricane. Hello, but a lot of trees that have a weak foundation fall over. They break in half. They do not hold up in the test of time. A tree that has been taken care of with good quality, good care. Nope, no itsy bitsy little pests stabbing with poisons, toxins, filling his head full of whispers and lies. No. And a tree with a good foundation grows into a strong tree that produces excellent fruit, excellent flowers, and it goes on to provide even more to the surrounding area. A tree can house so many different animals, so many different creatures, so many different funguses. It becomes in its own ecosystem. But a tree that's not taken care of, animals won't nest in it. They won't like eat. They won't eat off it. They won't rest in it. They won't nest in it. They won't produce excellent fruit. That is a bad tree. And a tree that's barely even a sapling, a lot of times they die off and get picked off. And if I had any more advice to give to anyone, or my friends mainly, but just giving advice to anyone, you slow down. Like, I get it, that honeymoon phase, like you found them, like, oh my god, they're so great, like they're pretty, they do this certain thing, that certain thing, but you got to take it slow, because the faster you go on it, the more overwhelming it becomes, and that's realistically what the issue is. They went too fast, they went too strong, and they burnt themselves out a little bit. One of them got scared, and they're trying to push back. And And that's what I'm saying. You need to take it slow, take it steady. Things will come naturally. Like if you really care about someone and you're doing the things that you morally think are correct, and you're like and they're like actually good things, then yes, if they're a good person, then more than likely it will happen naturally. There's no need to trying to rush into things in terms of this. I want to spend time with you. And there's going to be times where, yeah, we're going to be apart. I will want us to be apart from every so often, because there's times where you need to have like self-reflection. There's times where you need to be alone. And there's times where you need to work on yourself. And you can work on yourself and be with someone at the same time. You don't necessarily have to do it all alone. If you like, there's times where you may need help. You may need a second opinion. You may need a pair of eyes that think differently than you. And that's realistically, in my opinion, the most important part. That you're able to not only have the time to really dedicate yourself to this person, but also take time to really learn about yourself. You don't stop growing. You never stop growing. If you stop growing and you become comfortable, you become complacent, that's where things start to creep in. That's where things start to go wrong. You need to be able to learn and grow. All the while, you need to be able to accept that, hey, they are different. And honestly, that's where I want to end this today. So I thank you all for listening. This is Mike, your host. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, or you have anything you want to get my opinion on, hey, there's a comment section. And for some of y'all, contact me. But yeah, there's a comment section. So if you really want me to talk about a certain topic, then just let me know. I'd be more than happy to give you my opinion. If I don't understand it, I'll do my own research and I'll try to get my own opinion based off it. Or if it's something that I don't understand, then maybe I'll have a subset topic for you. But yeah, I do enjoy the communication. So if you really want to say anything, just go ahead and let me know, and I'll do what I can. So this is Mike. This is signing off. Y'all have a good day. Eat, drink water, call your dads, hug your moms, go pet the dog, or if you have a cat, don't punt it. And yeah, have a good day.